Welcome back, everyone. Once again, episode 40 of Pinstripe Press. Episode 40. We we're happy that we've been able to keep doing these for 40 episodes and keep this rolling. It's been fun. Definitely some struggles at some point, but episode 40 is here, and the Yankees are back in that winning stride, back-to-back series wins.
Yes. Honestly, got to be pretty happy with where we're at right now. It's just a good feeling, beating, the Astros team who, obviously been struggling, but the team that we've been rivals with, and then, winning 6 out of 7 games versus them, and then beating the Rays 2-1 in that series as well. So, I think a lot of things are going pretty solid at the moment. And, obviously there's still going to be some concerns here and there because, that's what always happens. But I think all around the team has been good in most aspects. So you got to be pretty happy with that. We're tied with the Orioles, atop the AL East. That'll be a battle all season long to see who can take the division. But we'll quickly go over the 2 series that have happened, and we got a bunch of injury news as well. That's what we'll be going over.
Mm-hmm. So coming off of that Tigers sweep, the Astros have been struggling, and they continue to look like that. I mean, the first 2 games, the Yankees scored 10 runs and 9 runs, both double-digit hits. So vastly different than most of these series for the offensive side. He's continuing to look great. He obviously got the ball in that first game. He's starting to go further in these games. He's almost like averaging now 6 innings. Only 1 hit, 2, 1 run given up. And the bullpen continues to look great as well. And we've talked about it every time, and we'll continue to talk about it. If the offense can just get going, the pitching has been good all season, and you see this from this game. 13 hits, 10 runs in the first game of that series. An easy win, to say the least, I'd say.
Yeah, this was a really fun game to watch. Got off to a little bit of a shaky start with the Tucker homer in the first inning off a heel, but the offense was rolling, got hits throughout the game. Couple of homers, got Verdugo and Volpe and Stanton. And the offense looked great. So a big win here, coming off the series win, the series sweep against the Tigers. Mm-hmm. Heel's looking really good.
Yeah, watching the Yankees play like that is very enjoyable. We've experienced a lot of the downs lately. So to show, this kind of shows like, all right, this is what this team's capable of. And I mean, it picked it up in that second game too. Yanks pull away 9-4, 9 runs, 11 hits again, and they got it going early. 5 runs through, at the end of the third inning, they're up 5-1. And, Rodon's on the bump. I'd say he had a great start. I mean, he almost went 7, gave up 7 hits, but he can get up there with that high count of hits because he lets a lot of pitches slip away from him. But 7 strikeouts and only 2 runs given up. Definitely a great outing for him. And I think we're seeing it. This Astros team is definitely not – I don't know what's going on with them because they're struggling. They are very struggling. And obviously they've got some free agents coming up too. So, they're in a big hole right now too.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a lot to do with their pitching, I'd say. I mean, their bats have been pretty solid, to be honest. But yeah, a lot of their starting pitching's hurt and just hasn't been very good. And then you got Josh Hader, who signs there and has been pretty bad as their closer. So, but at least it's good that the Yankees are beating up on them. Another really good offensive game. Homers from the big three, Soto, Judge, and Stanton. And yeah, once again, looking good on the offensive side. Rodon gets tagged, early on by Tucker and late in his start in the 7th inning. But, other than that, he looked really solid. He had 7 strikeouts, which is a solid tally. And, yeah, once again, the offense rolling up and down. Everyone, most people getting hits, and 5 ribbies for Soto.
Yeah, you referred to Tucker. He homered first inning in the first 2 games, and then in the last game, Jordan homered and Singleton homered. So definitely that, you see that and you kind of get concerned. Whenever you see, first inning, top of the inning homer, team scoring run, it definitely catches your attention. But the first 2 games, I mean, the Yankees that didn't get to them. It almost looked like it for the 3rd game. I mean, they got down 3-0 in the first inning in the last game of the series, but based on those first 2 games, we see what the offense can do, and you honestly don't lose hope. I think it's a different narrative this year. You look at last year, they get down early, we think we're out of it. Now, 2-3 run deficits, really nothing for this team. They are capable of scoring high volume of runs. And we saw that in this series.
Yeah, I mean, there's still some of that inconsistency, so we're not sure if we're going to get that, high scoring, performance out of the team. But it has happened, just like the first series of the season where we came back in multiple games against the Astros. We do that in a couple of these games as well. And yeah, I think, other than, the top guys, obviously Judge has picked it up, mightily. He's been really good as of late. And Soto. And, other than them, I think a lot of other guys in the lineup have picked it up as well. Verdugo has been pretty solid, catching position. Both of them have been a lot better. Volpe's getting some hits here and there. And I think up and down the lineup, people are contributing. That's what's helping us put runs on the board. We did come up short in game 3 with Stroman giving up those 2 homers in the first inning. But yeah, I think good things all around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was it wasn't a terrible outing from Stroman. 9 hits from him given up, which is not great. But, he only, gave up 4 runs, but that's very doable. Obviously, the bullpen kept us in it. They gave us a chance for the offense to do something. But definitely not a good start for Stroman. And, surprised by the Yankees offense that scored, 19 combined in the last 2 games. So, again, it's that inconsistency. And, we just quickly went over the Astro series, but it leads into the Rays series. You look at this Rays series, and the first 2 games, the Yankees score 2 runs in both the games. And, again, it's back to that inconsistency that you referred to. And you just wonder when will it all click together, or is this going to be a season-long trial? But, yeah, I mean, the first game, they put up 2 runs, but they still win it. And Clark Schmidt was a big reason for that. He finally goes the distance, almost gets to that 7 mark, but obviously gets pulled. But yeah, 5 hits, no runs, 6 strikeouts. His walks are still down, only 2 that game. And he's 4-1 on the season with, below 3 ERA. So, I mean, he's definitely a prove-it guy. And we talked about it before the season got started, how he could be a X factor and how it's a big season for him to try to go to that next step. And I think he's definitely making those strides right now.
Yeah, this was a really, really nice outing from him. I wish we could have seen him, maybe finish that 7th inning, but at that point, it was a really close game, and you want to bring in your bullpen, which has been really good all year to, keep that lead for you into the final innings. But yeah, he finally gets through 6 and a little bit more. This was really good from him. I liked, everything that I saw out of him. The offense really, not showing up very much in this one, but they do enough to put a couple runs on the board. And yeah, so a good win there. Only 2 runs on the board, but when your pitching is doing that, that's all you need.
Just did enough to get that win. On to game 2, a different story here. Again, Yankees put up 2 runs, but, Nestor just can't seem to get out of it again. 4 runs given up for him, 5 hits and 3 walks. Takes the L here. He's 1-4 on the season, 4 ERA. So it's definitely not the way you pictured it, but I don't know if you're surprised. He's coming back from that injury, and he's had some good outings. A lot of times pitchers get losses, and it's not really their fault. You look again. Gives up only 4 runs. That's not terrible. So obviously, the offense isn't really helping him, and we've seen that a lot with his outings. He'll pitch pretty lights out, almost give up a few runs, but the offense is just not there behind him. And, I mean, the bullpen didn't help. Dennis Santana, 3 runs given up, so pretty much put that game away. 3 runs in the 7th, so we were down 7-2. Lost this game 7-2. Hard to climb back from that. I mean, Volpe, 3 hits. Outside of him, no one else did anything except Birdie and Wells. So, again, this offense is just I don't know. It goes and comes as it wants, it seems like.
Yeah, this was definitely a rough game. Nestor didn't have it whatsoever in this one, and it showed. The Rays tagged him for some runs, and then, yeah, you've got the offense only putting up 5 hits with 3 of them coming from Volpe. So, yeah, that's, a pretty pitiful performance. This one hurts a little bit. It was, obviously the 7-2 looks like a lopsided game, but, early on when you have Anthony Volpe getting that 2 RBI single in the top of the 2nd, and then you get Trent Grisham, caught in between bases to end the inning, when you could have had 2 runners on base with Juan Soto coming up, that would have given you possibly an even bigger lead at the time. And then, that game could have looked a lot different. That was kind of confusing, move there from Grisham. He just seems like he wasn't really paying attention.
I don't know. At least this year we haven't ran into those problems. Like, you remember last year, the amount of base running errors this team made.
Yeah, like IKF and Stanton and
the amount of ground balls hit to short, and they would just go to third.
Yeah,
not a good game. And then third game, I mean, the Yankees win 10-6, 11 hits. But this almost went very poor. I mean, it was that 7th inning was a nightmare. I mean, they gave up 5 runs. And I remember watching this game because, Luis Gil's on the bump. And again, 6 innings, he's going the distance, no runs given up, and only 3 hits. He did his job. And I think at the time, yeah, the Yankees were up 6-0. He gets out of it, which I would have liked him to kind of go further into it because he was at 91 pitches, which is getting close to his, pulling point. But I don't know, when a guy's like dealing like that with a 6-run lead, sometimes you'd like him to just keep going. But Boone makes that call to go to Ferguson, and he gets shelled. For 4 runs given up there, and he had a walk. Just gets himself in a jam, and then he goes to birdie to try to clean up that damage. He hits a guy again, puts us in a messy situation. And then all of a sudden, it's 6-5, a 1-run game when you were just up 6-0.
Yeah, the gotta say that was really scary, and for a bullpen that's been, super good all year, this it's definitely like raises a couple of concerns, like are some issues starting to show up in the bullpen. Hopefully this doesn't occur more often, but yeah, it was clear that Ferguson didn't have his stuff. He lets a few guys on bases with hits and walks whatsoever. And yeah, that gives up that big grand slam to Siri in the bottom, 9th hitter in the order. Then you bring in Birdie, who also didn't have it, lets up, a hit by pitch and a couple walks. Luckily, Weaver's able to get out of it, and we maintain that lead, and then tack on a few more runs with the Torres homer. But yeah, what could have been in this game was it would have been an ugly loss. If we ended up losing this one, it would have been rough.
Yeah, that almost just went so downhill. And Birdie just came back, and I'm surprised you throw him into a situation like that to begin with. But I mean, Torres, hits that 3-run bomb to kind of almost like a dagger there, and he really needed that because that would have got to a point where there's runners on and Torres gets out there. That it gets to a stance where it's like you got to start being concerned with him because this is a crucial game where you got runners on to get insurance runs in a close game where your bullpen's already got pressure on them now because of the poor outing. But he did his job there and pretty much sealed the win there. And then Trevino gets his second homer of the game there, and he's been balling too. So I mean, look, 10-6 seems like a nice win, but it was very scary in that 7th inning there.
Yeah, could have been really bad, but the offense shows out in this one with 5 homers, 2 of them coming from Trevino, 1 for Jahmai Jones. Shout out there. And yeah, Luis Gil also looked really good once again. So yeah, I mean, we end up taking this one. Could have been a series loss, but we win the series 2-1, and that makes us 4-2 over these past 2 series. So altogether, seeing really good things and good outcomes here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're starting to. Yeah, it seems like we're starting to get back into the swing of things. We were losing it a little bit, but it's good to see them starting to take over these series again. So obviously 2 series have come and gone at the time of this recording. And, there was a lot of good, but some bad and some ugly. We just talked about it. This last game, very ugly inning in the 7th there. And, obviously Ferguson's the one who put that team in that position. Very ugly outing. So I think he gets that spot as it was just ugly. I mean, like you said, it could have it could have been very bad. I mean, you lose this game, then you lose that series, and then you really have more concerns into the bullpen, who just completely blew this game and also blew, a good outing for Heel.
Yeah. Ferguson, like, it's not only been this series, he's struggled this whole year, but, especially in this game, it was definitely ugly. The grand slam, obviously, it puts an emphasis on it because that's 4 runs all at once, but he could have gotten out of it if he didn't give that up. But he gives that up, and that's the big hit that puts the Rays right back in that game. And he definitely put some more pressure on the team that didn't need to be had.
100%. Bad. Seems like we've been talking about this situation past couple episodes. You could either go, 2 ways with this, Stroman or Nestor. But I think Stroman has to take it here. I mean, just not good. I mean, 9 hits given up by your starter is not going to get you a win. It's not going to put you in a good position. And that's not what you want, too. 4 runs given up. We talked about that. That's going to happen when you give up that amount of hits. I mean, he's not giving up homers, but they're hurting us, and by just getting on base. So I think
he gave up the homers in this game, against the Astros, the 2 first inning homers. But yeah, so yeah, you look at that, and 4 runs in a really bad first inning, that puts us in a huge hole. And although the guys on offense might have a chance to come back from that, that's not what you want to be starting with every game whatsoever. So yeah, we definitely can give him the bad there. Altogether, 4 runs is not the worst of performances, but them all coming in the first inning is kind of rough because at least if you spread them out, you're giving your offense a chance to fight back and forth with the other team. But this one was a comeback all the way from the start, and yeah, it didn't. Although he didn't give up any other runs after that, he just didn't look great.
Yeah. Not look good. Who did look good and who's looked good pretty much this whole season, almost looking like our best starter, was Luis Gil. Obviously, he pitched in the Houston series and the Tampa, both going 6 innings, giving up 1 run only in combined of those two outings. 3 hits the game versus Tampa, 1 versus Houston. I mean, he's been great. He's really been well. I mean, you look at his outing so far outside of that Milwaukee game. He's been pretty shut down, lights out. So that's definitely going to be a conversation to talk about when Cole comes back too, because what do you do with him? You slide him out of the rotation, or do you kind of keep a 6th guy on, maybe help out with innings, or does someone else get bounced? I don't know. And that's the thing. If Clark's been that guy who's been on the edge, but if he's pitching well now, it's like, I don't know. It's like you almost don't want to disrupt anything that they got going on. And, it stinks, but obviously the 2 guys in the rotation who really haven't been the best are Stroman and Nestor, but can't really move those guys like that just based on their resume and their name. Like, that's not really someone. I mean, obviously they've talked about maybe Nestor going back to the bullpen, but I feel like I couldn't see that.
Yeah, no, not at this point. Yeah, it's obviously between Clark and Luis Gil for who's gonna, miss out on that rotation spot once Cole comes back, which really sucks because both of them have been really good, under 3 ERAs for both of them. That's going to be a tough decision, but I think if things keep going the way they do, at least from a performance standpoint, you got to give it, the slight edge to Luis Gil, I'd say. He's been, really good. Clark has also been good, but he's not giving you that length that you want. And yeah, Luis has not given up any hits pretty much whatsoever. And he's really showed some big strides in his game. That'll be a tough one. I don't necessarily see us going to a 6-man rotation. I don't know. I think it could happen. It could, but you don't really want to move either Schmidt or Gil to the bullpen, because then they're not gonna, the arms are gonna be not stretched out anymore. It'll be a tough decision. That time is yet to come, because Cole, he's targeting a return in mid-June, so that's like a month. We've got a month until that happens. A lot can happen in that time, so we'll see if Gil and Schmidt keep performing this way.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting because you've got the same situation on the offense. We've got two guys who are, at least Cole, he's the ace, one of our best players, but you'd also like to say, Dominguez was one of our best prospects, and obviously he got called up last year and played well. So he's potentially got that capabilities of being one of our top guys on offense. So you've got two different great players coming back with, the offense has not been the best, but there are a lot of great moments they've had. They've shown that in games. So it's like, it's going to be interesting because someone's going to get bounced on both sides. Most likely. Someone's going to be losing playing time. Someone's going to be losing innings. And it stinks because obviously you're winning games now. Now, this would be different if the Yankees were not playing well at all. And I think that's also why you aren't – I don't know. It's like you are – I feel like you definitely feel different, knowing Cole and Dominguez are coming back. There's not that sense of urgency. You're kind of like – I feel like you feel more excited because if we were losing and we need Cole back, we're going to be you're very anxious in, getting them back. Where now it's like, oh, it's exciting. Like this team plus Garrett Cole and Jason Dominguez coming back, like it's going to be very, very exciting. But yeah, definitely a lot of moves that can be made, and it's always the problem with having depth. Because, I don't know, there's part of you, it's like you don't want to screw something up. Like, what if they come back and, like, some area of the team just, like, I don't know, just starts to go downhill? I don't know.
Yeah, we've got a lot of guys on the way back. Obviously the two main ones being Cole and Dominguez. Yeah, but there's a bunch of reinforcements coming on the way. Yeah, so a lot of injury news. So I'll get into that really quickly. Got Nick Burdi back after a short rehab assignment. Got Ron Marinaccio optioned to AAA as the corresponding move. Saw Burdi a little bit in the Rays series. Got Tommy Kahnle and Jason Dominguez beginning their rehabs in Single A with the Tampa Tarpons. They will be working their way back. 2 weeks of DHing for Dominguez, and his rehab assignment will be quite a lengthy one, you'd assume, because it doesn't seem like he'd be quite ready just yet. But I guess they want to see him get some playing time throughout the minors. You also got Oswald Peraza progressing to Double-A in his rehab assignment, so he could see him back on the major league roster pretty soon. Likely would be demoting Jahmai Jones to the minors.
Yeah. It's It's definitely it's crazy. Like you don't really see a lot of these, great teams who are winning have such a shakeup. But come June, July, like this team could look very different. Um, and it's weird to think about that as well. With obviously Cole, Dominguez, DJ. Paraz is gonna get some innings when he comes back. He's probably, I don't know. I'd imagine you'd have him on the bench. Like would, I don't know why you'd have him in AAA, but that also, so now that opens up another door on the possibility of you probably could have either. You might not be likely, but Grisham, Birdie, or even Verdugo or someone traded at the deadline. If because because when Dominguez comes back, now you're circling, Stanton, Judge, Verdugo. You got Grisham, Birdie, Peraza. You got 6 guys essentially rotating into 2 positions, maybe. And I don't know. And then if Canley comes back, you got Cole. Someone's moved the bullpen. There's the bullpen. I don't know. I mean, obviously, we'll have to wait and see. That's a ways away, but it's definitely something to think about with some of these injuries and rehabbing assignments going on.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting, especially on the position player side of things. There's some obvious. There's an obvious candidate for being moved to AAA, which is Jahmai Jones, but you obviously got to keep your backup catcher. And right now, John Birdie's playing pretty solid and is a good utility guy. And then you got Trent Grisham, who's getting paid a lot of money and, has proved in previous seasons that he can be a solid MLB player. But, yeah, you're obviously going to want to get Dominguez back in MLB most likely. And then you've got Peraza, question mark there of, where you want him to be, either MLB or AAA. And yeah, so it'll be interesting. I think, you got a clear path for Canley to come back and, probably demote Michael Tonkin. But we'll see. The time is yet to come. But yeah, these guys are coming back quick, and it'll hopefully, increase our depth, which will hopefully keep us more healthy down the stretch.
Mm-hmm. Exciting times, and adds on to it that we're winning too. You're winning, and you got these, great players, starting to get healthy, and coming back and helping the team because these guys are good. You don't want to change anything up, but if you think about it, the guys coming back, we'd hope, they're better than the guys we have now. You think, obviously, Garrett Cole. Dominguez, high-level prospect, and then you hope LeMahieu can come back, but come back to his ways, and if he does, well, that's one of the best contact hitters we have on the team. That's our leadoff guy. I know obviously Volpe's there, but he's struggling at that spot. Yeah, definitely got a lot of things to look forward to for the Yankees. Speaking of looking forward to, Paul Skeens just had his MLB debut. Obviously, highly anticipated prospect there. It's crazy how he barely even spent time in really the minors. I mean, it was similar, like Jackson Holiday, but Skeens just got drafted, essentially played just AAA in a few games, and obviously they limited his innings, but he got called up and pitched pretty well.
Yeah, I think it ended up being like a 4-inning outing for him. Struck out a guy on a 101-mile-an-hour fastball, and he looked pretty good. He ended up giving up a few earned runs because of the bullpen. But yeah, I think all in all, he looked really solid, and he's going to be a force to be reckoned with in that rotation, along with Jared Jones, and Mitch Keller is doing pretty well right now. So yeah, exciting stuff there. Prospects will keep getting called up throughout the season, and there's a lot of good ones right now. So more exciting stuff to come.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the league's, I think the game's growing, and we're getting more and more exciting talented caliber players too. So that's good to see. Obviously, two series here, a quick episode. There's a few things we talked about, obviously. But the Yankees they've hit that point, and now hopefully it's just just staying consistent with their ways. But I wanted to continue the buy, sell, hold game. 3 new guys this week. Buy, sell, hold: Luis Gil, Luke Weaver, and Jose Trevino.
Okay. This one is a tough one. All the guys that are performing pretty well right now. I'm gonna. This might be a little out there, but I'm gonna buy Luke Weaver. He's been really good out of the bullpen. We're putting him in those high leverage situations, and he's doing really well. It was a guy that we thought would be a long reliever and just eat up some innings when the starters weren't doing very well, but he's coming in there in high pressure situations and really getting it done. He's got a great attitude and personality that adds something to the clubhouse as well. For my sell, I'm going to try selling high on Jose Trevino. While he's hitting pretty well, obviously it's good to have that production out of the catcher position. But we know what kind of hitter he is. He's not going to be this type of hitter most of the time, hitting bombs and, being high production. So yeah, I'm going to have to sell him and then hold Luis Gil. Obviously been really good, but want to see a little bit more out of him, give him a couple more months, see what he does. And yeah, hopefully by that time we'll know if he's ready or not for a full-time spot in the rotation. Yeah, I think this one is another one that could go pretty much any way.
Mm-hmm. I like it. Definitely. I try to get a tough one there because obviously they all have three different situations they're all in, and definitely complicated situations as well. So that was good. 3 series in a row for the Yanks. They've won. Hoping to keep this up versus the Twins. Continuing that road trip into Minnesota. And I don't know, the Twins are, they're a weird team.
They're rolling right now for sure.
Yeah. That's, obviously last year they've been up and down, and then this year they've started off well. They kind of remind me of Cleveland a little bit right now. But yeah, they're playing well. So another tough series for the Yanks, another 3-game series with Rodon on the bump. Should be exciting outing for him. He's been pitching well too.
Yep. Got Rodon, Marcus Stroman, and Clark Schmidt going in this one versus Chris Paddock, Pablo Lopez, and Joe Ryan. So some pretty tough pitching opponents, and also a lineup that's been hitting the ball really well. So it'll be a tough test for the Yankees. Hopefully they can keep up their series win streak. But yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Yanks are rolling, and we will see you after the Minnesota series. Go Yanks.
Peace.